go first and I'll follow. How's that sound?
That's great. New year, Coach. Obviously, the way this season started, crazy, difficult circumstances.
Right.
They say time heals all wounds. What has happened from the start of the season to where you are now, and just in terms of processing and dealing with what you guys have had to deal with?
Well, it's different for everybody because the grieving process is different for everybody. So I know for me, I've been meeting with people, just to make sure I'm still sharp, because it's like I said, in the press conference to start, like it changes. Like I'll be preparing for practice or something like that, and I'll remember a moment or something he said or anything like that, and so it just pops up out of nowhere. And so like you continue to have those, and the biggest thing for me now is like it's the aftermath. It's like his wife and kids. That's what I think about the most. Because as much as we're hurting, it's 10 times worse for them. Because they're used to a guy walking in that door after practice every day, and he's gonna spend time with his kids. He's gonna spend time with his wife before he's probably making recruiting phone calls or watching film and stuff like that. And that part for them is gone. And so for as bad as I feel, I have to put it to the side and really think about them.
And what about for the 18 to 23-year-old kids? Is it an array of how they've reacted and handled it?
Yeah, and for those guys, it's different too. Some guys kind of use it as motivation, and some guys, are maybe a little closer than others, like a Casey Jennings, and he knew Casey Jennings since Casey Jennings was a baby. So for each guy, it's different. The Kennesaw guys were around him a lot longer, so they got more experiences with him. So it may hurt a little different for them as opposed to others. Some of those guys are, were just getting here this year, and some guys only had experience from the summer. So it's hard for all of them, but they're a resilient bunch. And we've offered services for those guys as well. A lot of them have taken advantage of it, and I think it's helping those guys too.
And what about in a general sense? You have one conference game under your belt. You're playing a little better the last 3 games as you go off to a tough place to play Wichita. What's the state of the team right now in your mind?
I like where we're at. I like where we're headed. And the one thing I told them, we were watching film from East Carolina the other day. I told them, I said, man, I'm happy where we're at, but I'm not. This is not the end point for us. Like, we still got room to grow, and I think those guys know that. I think they know that we're playing a lot better. We're playing the right way. We're living up to the standard that Coach Amir left, and we got to keep it there. Wichita is like you said, tough place to play. They have great fan support. They've done a great job this year. I think they're 10-3 right now. I think they play tonight. But they do a really good job, and they've done a really good job so far in the season. And we'll have to go in, with our minds in the right place and go up there for a fight.
Coach, when you look at assimilating the new guys in, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you're at now with that?
With getting the new guys
Getting the
acclimated.
new guys accustomed to what's going on here.
Man, I think we're probably at a 8 now. It takes those guys a little while because it's different. And I think it's different because we don't have the same approach to our team as most people do. So when we say we're more hands-on, I'm going to talk to you more about life than just basketball. And in a lot of places, you don't get that. So, early on, guys think it's just, it's for show, and it's not. That's who we are. We talk about molding men, and it takes more than a game to do that. So I think they know now, that there's a standard here that we operate under, and if it's not met, it's a price to pay. And I think those guys know that now, and that's why you're starting to see some of the consistencies, and we hope that just continues moving forward.
Coach, Bethune-Cookman was a great teacher, wasn't it?
Absolutely, man. A loss is not a loss if you learn from it. Now, you want to keep those to a minimum. But I think what it did was it told us, when you don't play the right way and when you don't play up to your standard, this is what could happen. No matter who you play. It could have been Weber International. It could have been East Texas A&M. When you don't play the right way and you don't play for each other, like, it looks totally different. And then because I asked after East Texas A&M, when you got 23 assists, I said, man, guys, like, take the opponent out of it. That felt a little different today, didn't it? Everybody agreed, okay? We'll bottle it up. We need to hold on to that. And so then you go to Weber International. It doesn't matter the opponent. You have 28 assists. That means you were intentional about playing the right way. And I think when we do that, like, I think you see it. Like, we're a different team when we play the right way.
I asked Amir last year, what was the game or the trip that kind of changed everything? He said about Massachusetts one up there.
Mm-hmm. Last year we went up to Hofstra.
Yes.
And man, we got popped. It was kind of like Bethune.
Mm-hmm.
And man, they really got us. They were a good team too, and they got us. We came back against UMass. Man, we played a lot better. Now, we didn't win, but we played a lot better. We just didn't do enough to pull that one off, but we played the right way. And so same scenario. So Amir was like, man, guys, we go down to Florida State next. And we had lost 3 straight, very similar to, when we got the Bethune loss. And, man, I remember, like, him talking to the team that night in the hotel the night before the game after we had watched film. I just felt it. When we left that room that night, I just remember looking in those dudes' eyes, like when they left the meeting room. And something, I never said it out loud. I just said to myself, man, we're going to win this game tomorrow. And, man, we came out, and it was, you could just see the difference. It was very similar to East Texas. And all of a sudden, guys, they saw it for the first time, like, okay, I see what you're saying now. If we do this, like, we can have success. And from that point on, that team bought into it. So I'm just hoping the same thing happen for us in that Bethune game, and we can, bottle it up and move, keep playing this way moving forward.
Coach talked about the practice after the Hofstra game. Was a totally different animal, totally different thing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. It wasn't structured that way. It was those guys made a concerted effort to commit to each other. And so they wanted to win. And so all of a sudden now they knew, man, if we want to win, this practice should be as hard as the games. Should be harder than the games. All right? And then, man, it was a war in there that day. And, man, from that day forward, those guys brought it. And so you look up 18 games of conference later and you're, 16-2? I mean, that's hard to do in any league,
Yeah, 15,
especially this one.
15 in a row.
Yeah.
Coach, nobody could expect to go through what you guys went through.
Yeah.
Just, out of nowhere, this happens. You get the job.
Mm-hmm.
When you looked in the mirror, what's the first thing you said to yourself?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The first thing I thought of was I felt guilty because I knew personally how hard Amir worked to get to this point. And so, I put my feelings to the side, because I just felt so bad because of what happened, and we had several conversations, and man, the thing that stands out to me was always, man, he would always say to me, Fletch, man, I want to be around for these kids. And this was like at Kennesaw, just having general conversations. And so that's why now it stings a little different because, I see the kids, that he wanted to be around for. And, that just, it breaks my heart every time because he said that to me more than once. And so, with that, man, after getting the job, I had to switch gears and was like, look, man, I got to do this for these guys because, yes, I feel terrible, but man, they feel just as bad. So, just had to bottle it up, talk to certain people, and to make sure I was doing okay because my whole thought process was wrong initially, and that's why I needed to speak to someone too, to be able to kind of put your feelings, not try to mask it, but like get it out. And so once I was able to do that, that's when you can shift your mind, folks. You shift your mindset onto, all right, let's go about getting these guys better every single day.
What was wrong with your mind? What was different about your mindset? You were keeping it in, you're saying?
Yeah, just had the wrong mindset. So like me feeling guilty, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, but it's just the love I had for them, and that's, I wasn't able to put it in the right space. My other best friend, Marcus Millhouse, he played with me in high school. He played junior college ball with me, and he played at Troy University with me. So, same age, a few years, it's probably, I can't tell how long it's been now. I think it may be 8 years ago, 8 or 9. He passed away in a car accident the day before he was going up to his honeymoon in Vegas. And I had talked to him that day, and we spoke briefly. He was telling me he was going to Vegas, and I would always mess with him like, all right, you go up there and lose all your money in Vegas. And he was like, nah, cuz, I got a certain amount that I'm willing to spend. After that, I'm done. I said, all right. So it was getting close to the 4th of July, and so they were only going for a few days. And he said, man, when I get back, I'm going to come to Troy and stay with you for a couple of days, and then I'll ride to Selma with you, for the holidays. So we had set all of that up. I'll never forget, we had a recruit in on that Saturday on an unofficial visit. I talked to him. We leave. I go play golf. And I come home and just, for some reason, man, like it was a hot day, and I went to sleep early, but I left my door unlocked, I left my TV on, I left my phone. And I never do this, especially when you're coaching and anybody can call you at any time. But I left my phone on the couch and wake up Sunday morning early to somebody knocking on my door. It was my other friend. And he said, hey, it's like 7 in the morning. He was like, hey, have you talked to mom? And I'm like, why would I talk to mom at 7 o'clock on a Sunday? So his dad has 2 funeral homes in the area of Troy. And so he would always stop by, so it wasn't out of the ordinary. So I thought he might have needed to rest or something before going to work. And he said, man, Millhouse was killed in a car accident last night. And so, I go, oh, no, I just talked to him. And I sit there in disbelief for about 5 minutes. My phone rings. His name pop up, Millhouse. I'm like, okay, good. This is all a joke, And so I pick up, and it's his wife. But I say that to say this. I know when that happened, I didn't handle it well at all. I shut down. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just knew I handled it wrong. But I knew this time I needed to talk to somebody to really, process it and put it in the right spot. So that's where I think, when a Amir deal happened, I wasn't headed that way because I knew I didn't handle it right the first time. I just knew I needed to talk to somebody to make sure I handled it the right way.
So on the team again, after the Bethune loss, you alluded to the meeting that you had and the positive things that came out of that. Was that a planned meeting? Was it happen organically? What sort of vibes made it happen?
When I went home that night, I watched the film. And I came in and I told the guys, and I was being completely honest. I said, guys, it would be, it'll be a disservice for me to show you that film. Because I don't think it'll help us get better in any way. All right? Because when I watched that film, we lacked trust. And then I kept watching, and we lacked responsibility. Keep watching, and we lacked unity. We lacked toughness. We lacked humility. And at the end of the day, that was truth, right? That's what we stand on. So, to a point, man, we had to have real men conversations on, why we didn't play well with each other and why we didn't enjoy playing with each other. So everybody had to get up, and everybody gave their opinion, and everybody said what they had to say, and there were some apologies made, and all of this stuff, And so I think when you have real conversations like men, like a lot of times you can get a lot accomplished. And so that's, we won't say what was said, but there was some real stuff said in that meeting, and guys stood on that. And I said, look, man, this is a great first step about talking about it and all this stuff. But like the real test is doing it and doing it every single day. And that's where we needed to get to, because it's too much in and out. Like we have to be on the same page if we're gonna do this thing. Gotta be, because Amir wouldn't want it any other way.
Did you have a feeling, you talked about last year, you look in your eye, hey, we're gonna win the game. Was it that kind of thing where you thought we turned a corner here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, I said that was the first part, because it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to do it. And I think you guys have seen the last 3 games, it looks a little familiar to last year. And I would agree. I thought defensively we're slowly getting better and better and better. I think offensively, man, over the last 3 games, the numbers speak for themselves. Through the assists, that's a team stat. Your shooting percentages, it usually tells you you're taking the right ones. And so I think if we just keep chipping away, playing for each other, all right, playing the right way, cutting down on our turnovers, and then really honing in on the defensive end, I think you're going to see this team keep getting better and better. I really do. As long as we keep the same mindset, like, we can do it.
Last year, you were perceived a certain way going into the conference season. You got off to a good start. Okay, we've seen this before. Got a road win. Okay, we've seen no road win. Let's see if they can do it too. And by the end of the thing, it was like, we've never seen USF play like this. So you're perceived differently now.
Right.
You've mentioned you have a target on your back. What does that mean exactly to the guys, and what kind of pressure, or maybe that's not the right word. What do you have now on you that's different going into this conference season?
Well, the thing is, you're not sneaking up on anybody this year. For years, and I hope nobody gets offended by this, but I think people on the outside view South Florida as the doormat of the American Conference. And so when you do what we did last year, there's a certain level of respect that comes with that, right? So when you get crowned a conference champion, you get viewed a little different. And so now our guys have to take on that responsibility. Like, everybody's coming for you every single night. You're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. Like, that might have been the case last year, the first few games, but that won't happen this year. They won't overlook you this year. So you will have to earn everything you get this year. And so, I tell them that, one, not to brag, but they have to understand that responsibility, because if you let a team come in here with a different mindset than you, and you're just thinking this is just your next game on your schedule, they're not coming in with that mentality. They're coming in saying, we want to take down the champions from last year. And so by us knowing that, we can now brace for what's ahead. So that's the mindset that we have to have.
One guy, new guy, Jameel Reynolds. We've gotten a little sample of how he plays. What's your view of what he's brought to the team so far, 14 games in, and what he can bring going down the stretch?
Man, an inside presence that we hadn't had. A guy that you can throw it in there and he generates offense. It may not be for him to score all the time because he's now drawing the attention, but he's also a willing passer. So now that he's getting double, I have to make sure I give him outlets to where he's not shocked by double teams, and he knows where his options are. I thought early on, like when we were in Myrtle Beach, I think that was the first couple times we saw him get double, and we weren't prepared for it, and that was on me. So we got to have better protection for him to where he knows his outlets and know where to get it quick. So, But moving forward, man, he can be a dominant big in this league, and but it has to be his mindset. You know, he hadn't had that opportunity at some of the places that he's been, and you know, I want him to erase that out of his memory because that's what we need him. That's what this team needs from him, to be dominant, demand the ball inside, and then to be decisive.
What's the mix of, you know, we've seen him have a soft baseline shot, a little finesse to his game, but also he goes in hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Does he live in both worlds effectively? Do you want to see more of one or the other, or how does that balance?
Yeah, I mean, he's a different player because although he's 6'11", 280 and strong, man, he does have that nice touch. He is a little skilled. So, man, we want him to use both because you know, people are going to guard him differently. He's going to be guarded by different size guys. And so you have to understand that. And that, like what we're trying to explain to him now, man, when you're playing against smaller bigs, man, they're probably going to try to, you know, try to take charges and things like that. So you have to be mindful of who's guarding you. But then, you know, we got some 7-footers in this league too. So, you know, you just got to switch it up on how he's being guarded.
Well, on Jamil again, you know, you're on basketball a lot. When you have a guy that's 6'11", 7 foot, some guys love that. Some guys have been haunted by it their whole lives. Any sense of how Jamil feels about himself in that body, and how he translates that as a person and as a player?
I think he's confident in his skin. You know, I don't get any you know, embarrassment from him for being a big guy. I just think it's hard, man. When you he's a large human, you know, so everything's a little different for him, and you have to be mindful of that. You know, Jamil's aware that he's not in the best shape, but man, he works at it. You know, and like big guys just have a tough time. Some, you know, based on your body type. Like Daniel Tobolo, he has no problem moving, but their body types are different. You know, Dan has more of a slim frame, and he's still big and strong. You know, he's 7 foot, 245, and he's solid. But Jamil's naturally a bigger guy, and so it just takes him a little longer to get in shape than those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, he has a weight on him, right? All big guys that if they don't do a certain thing, oh my God, the guy's 6'11", what's he doing out there?
Yeah.
That a 6 foot guy doesn't have.
Right.
That's just part of being a big.
Yeah, no
You're
doubt.
Expected to
Yeah.
dunk the ball every time or something.
Dunk the ball every time, don't miss it, get every rebound. You know, but like what you have to understand is, you know, Jamil has to play in short spurts to make sure he's as effective as he can be. But I thought, and this is what I told him, I challenged him yesterday during our film session. And this is what he has to understand. What he did in that last 5 or 6 minutes of the game was big time because we went zone to try to you know, not stretch it, but like we wanted to kill the game. And by that, what I mean, we wanted them to pass it around the perimeter because we knew they were going to just try to duck their head, try to get foul calls. And, man, the game was going that way where they were starting to get some of those calls. And, man, I wanted them to pass it around the perimeter so we could chew some clock. And, man, he just controlled the glass by himself. And I told him yesterday, I said, man, we need the guy who finished the game the last 5 or 6 minutes. We need him for 40. We need him for 25 or however many you can give us. We need that type of effort. Like, when we get that, we become a different team.
Yeah. I don't know how involved you were with getting him here, you know, any sense of his motivation to come here, what it means to be back in his home area, what, you know, how he's reacting to all of that?
Well, Coach Small did a really good job in recruiting him along with Amir. But, man, you know, our big sell for him was like, man, get you back closer to home, you know, put you in an environment where all the guys are on the same page, working towards a common goal. And we think that'll be better for you and your career moving forward. And, man, I think he's embraced it. You know, I think early on, you know, he was trying to fill us out to see if we were going to be, you know, men of our word. That because we told him, man, if you come here now, don't just come for basketball because we're going to push you in every aspect of your life. And I think he's seen that. So, hopefully he understands that we love him. But Amir would always say, love comes in many different forms. Love is a pat on the back when you need it, but love can be a swift kick when you need it too if you're not doing what you need to be doing. So I think he understands that now, and I really like where he's at. He's going through a growth process right now, and man, he's doing a great job.
One more thing, if I could. You have at Wichita, at Tulane, last year did really well on the road most of the season. Something this program has struggled with at times. Is there a bottom line to being successful on the road for you? Like, you got to do X, Y, and Z to win road games, or is it, maybe not a formula, but what is it about being successful on the road that a team has to know?
Man, it's all about us. We can't get involved with the crowd. We can't get involved with the other team. We can't get involved with officiating. If you're going to go try to win big time road games in this league, it has to be about us. And I thought all last year, like, our guys had that mentality. They were never afraid to go in any building. We treat every game the same. Everybody gets the same respect from us. No matter who it is, they'll get the right attention. Even Bethune got the right attention. Now, they got the best of us that night, but we give every team the right attention. And I think that's what Amir did so well, even dating back to Kennesaw. It was like, man, if we were playing Toccoa Falls, man, we worked just as hard on that scout as we would Liberty. So, like, giving everybody the respect that they deserve, because that's how you respect the game. And with that, I thought the guys knew, like, man, we prepare the same way for everybody. So I think that's a good formula for winning on the road, treating everybody the same.